In this video, I am going to review example number 4, where you were asked to find the greatest common divisor, also known as the greatest common factor. So, to find the greatest common divisor or greatest common factor of 231 and 336, the first thing I'm going to do is to write each one of these numbers in its prime factorization. So, 231 is equal to 3 times 77. Now 3 is a prime number. 77 is not. 77 can be broken down further into 7 times 11. And now these are all prime numbers. So 231 could be written as 3 times 7 times 11. For 336, I could start off with 6 and 56 because 6 times 56 is 336. And again, you can break these into different numbers depending on what these numbers are. Each one of these is still composite, neither one's prime, so the 6 could be split into 2 times 3. 56 could be split into 7 times 8. 2, 3, and 7 are prime numbers. 8 still is not. So 8, I just recognize that, you could say it's 2 times 4 and then split 4 into 2 times 2. You recognize it's 2 times 2 times 2. So what you have here for the prime factorization of 336 is that it's equal to 2 to the 4th power times 3 times 7. Now, in order to get the greatest common divisor or greatest common factor, what I want to look for is what is the smallest possible, or the largest possible values that are appearing in both of these. So the 3's appearing in here, the 7's appearing in both of these. The 2 here, 2 to the 4th, there's 4 2's being multiplied here, but there's none up here. There's an 11 up here, but none in here. So there's really nothing in common between those for those. So it's the 3 times 7 that they have in common, and that's what is going to make up their greatest common divisor. So the greatest common divisor would be 3 times 7, or 21. So the answer is 21. On to the next one. 525 and 225. Now, based on some of the things that you already know about numbers and what they're divisible by and so forth, both of these are divisible by at least 5. And since, they have 25 and they're actually both divisible by 25. So 525 would be broken into 25 times 21. Both of these are composite numbers. 25 becomes 5 times 5. 21 becomes 3 times 7. So 525 can be written as 3 times 5 squared times 7. For 225, I can express that as 25 times 9, both of which are still composite. This will become 5 times 5. This will become 3 times 3. So 225, its prime factorization is 3 squared times 5 squared. Now, they both have a 3 being multiplied, but this one has, this is the highest power that both of them have. So 3 to the 1st power is going to be part of my GCD. They both have a 5 squared, so 5 squared will be part of it as well. The 7 over here, since there's no 7 counterpart over here, the 7 is not going to be part of the greatest common denominator. So, looking at these, the 3 times 5 times 5, or the 3 times 5 squared, are what they both have in common. So, knowing that the greatest common divisor is going to be 3 times 5 squared, which is 75. And so 75 is the GCD. On to the next one. 114 and 216. Again, I'm going to do the prime factorizations of these two numbers. So 114 splits into 2 and 57. That is a prime number. 57 becomes 3 and 19. Now all three of these are prime. So 114 is 2 times 3 times 19. 216 is 9 times 24. This becomes 3 times 3. This becomes 3 times 8. The 3's are all prime. 8 is not. And 8 would be the multiplication of 3 2's. So 216 is basically 2 cubed times 3 cubed, or I can write it as 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. The important part to see about that is that they both have a 2 times 3 in there. This one has multiple 2 times 3's that I can pull out of here, but this one only has one of them. This one has a multiplication of 19, this one doesn't, so I can't use that. So the 2 times 3 is what they both have in common. And that's what the GCD is going to be. It's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. And so 6 is the GCD. Next one. 46 and 253. Now 46 splits into 2 times 23, and 23 is a prime number. 253 splits into 11 times 23. 11 and 23 are both prime numbers. Now this one's pretty easy because you can see they both have the multiplication of 23, and that's going to be what their greatest common divisor, or greatest common factor, is going to be 23. You notice I write a GCF. Greatest common factor, greatest common divisor, same thing. The GCD of 32 and 224. Well, 32 splits into this, and I'm kind of not doing it step by step anymore. It's basically 2 to the 5th. 224, you know, depending on how you split it, and if you split it a certain way, you can also find out it's basically, you know, 32 is a is a factor of this. As you can see here, this becomes 2 to the 5th. This becomes 2 to the 5th times 7. So if I had made this a 7 over here, I would have gotten the 32 over here, and that would have been enough to say, okay, well, 32 and 32, that'd be the greatest common divisor. But I can see here that the 2 to the 5ths, you know, they do have in common, and 2 to the 5th is 32. And so that's what the GCD or GCF is. And that is the end of this video. If you have any further questions, please make sure to reach out and ask me about it. Until next time, have a good day.